The title to this movie is pretty lazy. There's quite a bit of convenient dialogue, and I do not know if M. Night Shyamalan has ever actually been to a concert. It's pretty flawed, could have ended about three different times, and still, this movie isn't horrible. Hello everyone, my name is Erin James. This here is a review of the movie Trap, written and directed by M. Night Shyamalan. This movie is about a father who takes his daughter to a concert of an artist that she is very fond of. But while there, he notices that there is a lot of law enforcement around. Turns out a trap was set to catch the butcher, someone who's been kidnapping and murdering people. And turns out our protagonist is that killer. So now the protagonist, this father, this murderer, has to figure out a way to get out of the concert and leave the concert, preferably with his daughter, in order to avoid capture. As you can see, the concept or this idea is pretty interesting, at least to me. It's pretty intriguing. I was invested, and there are so many obstacles and challenges that could come to our protagonists to prevent them or delay them escaping. What I appreciate here is that Shyamalan at no point, at least for me, did it feel that he was trying to get us to sympathize for the protagonist. This person's a murderer. And at no point it felt that he was trying to add some humanity to this person. It was more so a sociopath trying to fit in with society, acting an actor playing a character who is also acting, pretending to be normal as though they have a regular life. One of the big issues here is that while at the concert, I feel there was not enough challenge or pushback of him escaping. There's too much convenient dialogue, too much information being shared that did not need to be shared. An example would be, I am the manager at one of the convenience spots or vendors at this concert, and while you're speaking to me about who all works here, I'll say how many people work here, and then I add in, oh, and we also have the passes to go out through the back. It was just this information that was being shared without unwarranted, a lot of unsolicited information that should be kept secret or confidential, but was being given to him. And so it kind of took me out, but not enough for me to not be invested. Again, throughout this whole movie, I was thinking, how is he going to escape? And another challenge would come up, and I'm wondering, how does he get past this one? So pretty much plot armor or exposition that worked in the benefit of the protagonist at all times. We have Shyamalan's daughter playing the singer, and I believe this is her actual music. I'm not sure, but the music is pretty good. I enjoyed it. The concert itself, the way it looked, the set design felt like a real concert. But the issue I have here is that there were a lot of intermissions, and they would have intermissions as they set up the stage for the next song. Concerts are not really like that. I've never been to a festival or a concert or any live music event that consistently has intermissions for the same artist just to set up the stage for the next song. Usually they transition the stage, move the stage along as the music's playing, as the person is talking, just as filler for the audience, as they're playing the instrumental for the previous song or the next song, or maybe an instrumental that is just for this concert. But they don't have intermissions for the audience to go out to the concessions and then come back in time for the next song. That's a bit nitpicky, I understand, but that is an issue here, and I felt that it was for the sake of the story to allow time for the protagonist to figure out how to escape and make it not seem like the concert should have been over by a certain amount of time. We also have Kid Cudi here, who clearly seems to enjoy acting and doing these cameos, because here, he's the funniest and one of the best parts of this movie. I really like his dialogue. It's pretty funny, and there were other humorous moments here, but those moments, I think some of them were not meant to be funny. I feel M. Night Shyamalan lacks some level of awareness, and I think he's kind of recognizing that people see a lot of his stuff as a bit quirky or weird, and you could see that he tries to implement it, but I'm hoping he doesn't end up becoming a caricature of himself where he's like, hey guys, I know I'm weird now, just like you, and then he tries to make it weird and ends up not being as entertaining, or you end up not being as invested. But I will say he does add a lot of weirdness to his characters or to his stories that I do not feel he intends to, so then it kind of feels awkward. Josh Hartnett is great here as our protagonist. I mean, fantastic. His facial expressions, the way he was behaving as this sociopath, the way he was reacting to different people. It was an actor playing an actor. And there were layers to it, and the way he would interact with different people and just trying to appeal to their humanity. I do feel the directing and possibly the script held him back though. I felt that he could have pushed it a bit further if he was allowed to. And I'm not sure if it's the script or if M. Night Shyamalan was just telling him to keep it at the level that was given to us. Now back to the title. The title is pretty lazy. It feels like the name of one of the earlier drafts when you're not sure of what to name your story, whether it be a novel, a script, a manuscript, screenplay, stage play, etc. I mean, because Trap could be applied to many movies. There is a show on Max called The Power of Film, and I watched it recently after I had already heard about Trap and just about a week or two prior to watching Trap. And in it, there is discussion about most movies that we consider classics or that are memorable. They involve some level of entrapment, whether it be social or financial, economic entrapment, or literal entrapment. And then they listed movies such as The Godfather or Alien that could be called trapped, and it makes sense because they are trapped in one way or another. Recent movies such as Abigail could be called trapped. So that was my issue here. I mean, even prior to watching that show, I felt that Trap was a bit lazy in the title, and I think that they could have thought of something else. I forgot to mention another thing about the concert is that the opening acts were performing when the lights were still on and maybe 10% of the audience had showed up. They were still filling in most of the audience and they were performing, and that's not how concerts start. The movie felt that it ended a few times, but still I was invested as it moved on, as it progressed. But when we finally got to the credits, as we finally got to the final scene, it kind of felt as though M. Night Shyamalan himself just wasn't sure how else to continue it. It felt that he finally put our protagonist in a box that he was not sure how to explain how this person would escape. How would they escape? And then that's when he decides to end it with the credits. And this movie does get tedious with him constantly escaping, being put into this box, put into this situation where he is discovered or presumably trapped and somehow finding a way to escape. And it got to a point where I felt that we could have ended it here and he's gone. Now he's out on the run and we don't know where he is, but we could end the movie. We don't have to see where he ends up. At this point, what do you expect from Shyamalan? A lot of movies are flawed, and I see him kind of pulling back from the major twist of his movies. And overall, as flawed as this movie is, and as much as I've picked at it, I would watch it again. I think just to see if I really enjoy the parts that I do find interesting and to see what else could have been improved, because this premise is pretty good. And I think that's one of the things that I like about Shyamalan is that he has these very innovative ideas that could make for a great movie or a great story, but he needs to maybe get some writers. If he wants to stay in the director's chair, cool, but get some writers, get some people to come in and really work on your stuff. The story can still be by you, but get some other people involved. And that will help upcoming writers. I mean, if you're really that pressed about making your own story, get some upcoming writers to maybe throw in a bit of themselves into there and help them come up. Until next time, y'all take care of each other, check up on one another, make sure you check up on yourself, and remember, potential has no limit. Why was Russ in this movie?